Welcome to the Same Day Podcast, where we discuss driving incremental business growth and other topics related to real estate, property management, and entrepreneurship. Now, to the show at hand.
Hi there, Yoni Schmidt here, hosting today's episode of the Same Day Podcast, where I connect with top business leaders and real estate investors. Past guests include Lindsay Davis, the CEO of Spartan Invest, Ben Nemechek of BlanketHomes.com, Noah Bleicher of Capital Homes, and many, many others. Today's episode is brought to you by Keyrenter. Keyrenter is a full-service property management company. We help our clients buy, renovate, and manage their real estate assets. That is why no matter what asset you have in the world of real estate, we have the management solutions for you. Go to KeyrenterPMC.com or email us at info@KeyrenterPMC.com for more info. Today, I'm very excited to welcome Kim Daly, one of America's top franchise consultants, a peak performance coach, and the founder of the Zee Suite. For over the last 2 decades, Kim has empowered aspiring entrepreneurs to achieve financial freedom and lifestyle flexibility by helping them find the perfect franchise opportunity. She's known for her bold belief that business ownership through franchising is the fastest path to wealth, and she has the track record to prove it. Whether you are burnt out in corporate America or just hungry for more control over your life, this episode will open your eyes to the possibilities franchising can unlock. Welcome to the show, Kim, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. You can be my PR agent any day of the week.
I love it. I just did an episode on PR and the importance of PR. So thank you for that. Let's dive right in, because I have a lot of questions about franchising. And I know that we're not going to get through all of them today. But, you know, maybe in 2016, 17, someone came to me and they said, hey, I'm opening a business. I want you to be a 50% partner in this. I'm going the franchise route. And I said, you know, I don't want to go the franchise route. I want to brand everything myself and do everything myself. And that's really where we diverged. And we, you know, ended up not going into business together. And, you know, I'm here, they're there. In hindsight, you know, everything looks cheap in the rearview mirror. And in hindsight, I'm thinking to myself, you know, had I said yes, my life would have been completely different. But I don't necessarily know, it probably would have been for the better, because this business that I'm not going to mention is extremely successful today, despite the fact that, you know, there's a 7% royalty fee. Is that what we call it? Like a franchise fee, royalty fee that gets taken out of, the top line, the business's top line every month. And it drives me nuts. So, you know,
Let's talk about fees. Let me help you.
What do most people like me misunderstand about franchising, and why is now a great time to explore it?
Oh, so many questions in there, Yoni. That's amazing. Okay. So first, let's just define what a franchise is, okay? And the real benefit to you as a entrepreneur who says, I don't really want to go alone, because entrepreneurship is very risky, right? It's costly. It's time consuming. I don't know what I don't know. I don't have an MBA. I don't have $1 million. I don't have 5 years of my life to pour into this to figure out, is it going to make money? Okay. Mm-hmm. In saying all of that, I just set up the whole value proposition of investing in a franchise. So when you become a franchisepreneur, you're buying down the learning curve, because you're partnering yourself with people who've already figured out how to make money, right? So you pay a one-time franchise fee the day you sign your franchise agreement. Now, that fee doesn't have anything to do with opening your business. It's the cost of the toolbox. It's this is our customer, and this is how we find them, and this is our marketing, and this is our back-end CRM, and this is how we're going to train you, and all the things. So you're not out there as an entrepreneur on an island by yourself. You're partnered with yourself with people who work collaboratively with you. They train you, they coach you, they support you, and they support the future growth of this franchise. Okay, so those are some of the benefits of being a franchisepreneur. But let's just back up and zoom out a little bit more. What is the benefit of a franchise in like the economy? So as a customer, why do we love Chick-fil-A? Why do we love Planet Fitness? Why? Because we know what these brands stand for without even being in the store. You know how you're going to be treated the minute you walk into a Chick-fil-A. You know that Planet Fitness is $10 a month and nobody's going to judge me. Wink, wink. Okay. So how do you know that? Because they have so many locations and they have marketing power in the media to buy that national advertising that tells us who they are. So that makes the cost of customer acquisition greatly reduced at that level when you're a franchisee in that system. Now, most of the franchises I work with aren't at that level yet. But the time to invest in Chick-fil-A or Planet Fitness isn't now. There's no more good locations. It was before the world knew who they were. That's when your market was open. That's when you could get in and be a part of this growth, helping the customer in your area learn what Planet Fitness meant or learn what Chick-fil-A meant. So by the time the whole world woke up and everybody that goes in there goes, wow, I would love to own one, you can say, well, I have the most established stores in this location. I own 5 of them. Make me an offer that I can't refuse. And that's when you see, when I say the fastest path to building wealth, when you see people exiting for like 5 multiples of their EBITDA, 10 multiples of their EBITDA, like the business doesn't hang on to that kind of multiple, but there's always a moment when the world wakes up and everybody wants one and you have the most established stores, right? That you can raise your hand and go, there might not be any available, but you can buy mine.
Yeah.
Get it. I just said a lot there too, but like, I do want to one thing about the royalty and then I'll stop talking. So that's kind of like what we're doing. And as customers, we love franchise brands because we know what to expect when we walk in. Unless you're on vacation and you want to be in some authentic mom and pop place. For the vast majority of us, right, when we want it what we want. We want to know when we go in, we're going to get it, right? And so that's what makes a franchise beneficial in the customer's eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's both sides. Now, let me just speak to that royalty and then I'll stop talking.
Okay.
So the royalty is the percentage of your gross sales that you give back every single month. You're right. Sometimes every single week, Yoni. Now, the royalty is how franchisors make money. Okay. Because they need money to go run Super Bowl ads. They need money to do all of these things to perpetuate the brand through changing economies, competition, COVID, all the things, right? So where do they get the money? They get it from us. Why? Because they helped us make money. We need them to be a positively cash flowing company to continue growing. So yes, we have to contribute to that. Now, to your question of like, oh, I'm getting ripped off. No, when you look at the value of what you get, not just in the startup toolbox, but the ongoing mentoring and coaching, the other franchisees, maybe national accounts, like all lower customer acquisition fees than the entrepreneur because nobody knows who, Kim's Fitness is, but everybody knows Planet Fitness. It's all of those things. And that has to be measured when you're in validation of exploring a franchise by talking to the people who are already paying the fees. Kim Daly is absolutely one of America's top franchise consultants. I place more people into franchising than almost any other franchise consultant out there. I pay a 10% royalty, Yoni. Don't fall out of your chair. I give 10% of every single placement back to my corporate office. Franchisors have said, why do you do that? You could go, we'll still pay you. Kim Daly, you're you. You're the legend. I would never fight the hand that taught me how to be this person and have this opportunity for 10%. My 100 is the 90. It's all a perspective shift based on the value of what I get for the little 10% I give. But that shift only happens during the discovery process when you meet the happy franchisees and they're like, yeah, I built a $5 million irrigation company. I got 5 territories. I have this many guys. I'm living the dream. I have 2 homes, and they're like, and you're like, oh, he's not tripping over the 7%.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, Keyrenter is a franchise business model, as you may or may not know. And, in hindsight, 9, 8 years later, I'm a lot smarter. I've been working with Keyrenter for a while now, 6, 7 years. And so I do understand the value of the toolbox now. When I was, in discussions to maybe open this business, at the time I was thinking, man, we're giving so much up in exchange for that royalty or the percentage. But you're right. In hindsight, when you look at the value creation from the franchisor to the franchisee, the cost of marketing, the cost of the client acquisition, the playbook, the toolbox, the industry knowledge, the access to people who have done it already to ask them the right questions or to help you through, objections. It's invaluable in today's world. If I could have gone back, I would probably, knowing what I know, I would probably have a different answer, right? And I'd say, okay, let's do it.
Exactly. And this is why there are things like people like me called franchise consultants, and my service is free. So if anybody listening has those same or other things that you're tripping over, limiting beliefs like, well, yeah, sounds great, Kim Daly, but I don't want to own a Jersey Mike's. Like there's way more to franchising than food and retail. But this is why I have a business. So feel free to come to me and there's zero pressure. You will never feel any pressure from Kim Daly. I tell everybody, I will not talk you into this. I'll talk you through it. I'll challenge your thinking if I know you're stuck behind a limiting belief. But at the end of the day, you get to believe what you want to believe. I'm not here to change you, to like tell you what to believe. I'm going to try to change that belief if I know it's a limiting one. But It's a free service. You never pay me any money. I'm paid like a recruiter to help franchisors vet candidates. So by the time you get on their desk, you're financially qualified. You live in a market that they want to grow into. You have the skills of their top performing people. So their development team is coming in from day one, first call with you to a much higher level conversation than if you're an organic lead. So if you're like, yeah, I don't need you, Kim Daly, I'm going to go do it myself. So when you come in organically through the website, they have their like fresh, sales guy on you because the quality of the people is like so random. They don't put experienced, well-developed people who are in it to really help people, like roll out the red carpet on the organic leads. They put them on the Kim Daly leads because they know that Kim Daly has properly prepared this person, and this person has a very high likelihood of being a good match.
Yeah.
So there's so much. It's a process, and you want to work with the best of the best franchises. That's a whole nother conversation. And you want to make sure that you're dialed into the right companies that you can afford, that match what you're trying to accomplish, not just look at fitness because you love the gym, right? Not just look at a company because you think, well, my community doesn't have one of those. Because what if the owner's role in that business isn't what you want to do every day, or that business doesn't have the financial capability that you even need to be able to leave your job and go make this happen? I know those kind of things, and it can save you all kinds of time from getting emotionally sucked in and time invested in a business that's not going to get you where you want to go.
So let's dig into that, like what you call, I believe, the freedom formula a little bit, right? You've said franchising is the best path to wealth. Can you break that down for us a little bit and maybe talk a little bit about, say someone's in college today and they say, okay, I know I want to be a business owner. Now's the best time for me to probably start a business because I'm early in my career. Where would you direct that person to go?
Okay. So let's start there. And then you can remind me of the first question. So a franchise is going to require a certain level of investment. So if your parents are willing to invest in you, if you're in college, that's amazing. Otherwise, you probably should go be an entrepreneur and learn from the school of hard knocks, right? Where there's very little on the line. You can put in your time, sweat, grind, tears, all that, and you can work it out. And really, like what I always say is the easiest people to convince of the true value of a franchise are former entrepreneurs. You're never going to hurt yourself by failing forward as an entrepreneur. Like you're only going to gain resilience and skill and knowledge from hard doing, right? And if you happen to strike gold, all the better for you, right? But for the average person that is like, I'm in a I got kids, I got a mortgage, I'm married, like I make 150 or 200 grand a year. I can't just like not have income. This is where franchising can come in. So it does take a certain level of investment. You don't need millions of dollars, but you do need investment. There's franchises that cost as low as like 100,000, or a little plus, a little minus. And then there's something that are 3, 4, 5 million and more. So how do you know what you qualify for? I know. You don't have to know. Just come to me. I'll very quickly get you looking at the right class of financial investments for you, and then also lead you to lenders who are dialed into franchise lending. So they can help you even get qualified to see, would you qualify for an SBA loan? Or A, is the equity in your home eligible in your state? Or hey, did you know that you can use your 401k without creating a taxable event, right? You can actually touch that money for the purposes of starting a business tax-free. Like
Hmm.
maybe that's the cash you use to get an SBA loan because the bank requires you to have 20% when you get that SBA loan. So how do you figure all this? You don't. You come to Kim Daly and I will
Yeah.
guide you through that. So that's the second part. What was the first question? Do you remember?
The
Oh,
first one
freedom
was,
formula.
breaking down the freedom formula and why is franchising the fastest path to wealth building?
Okay, so let's talk about wealth. Wealth is money and time. Okay, so I'm a financially free person. What does that mean? That means I have more passive income coming into my home than it costs me to live every month. So if I decide, I run two companies. If I decided not to make any money,
Hmm.
I can live and then some. That's
Hmm.
financial freedom. That's part of the definition of wealth. Wealth is money and time. Now, obviously, I choose to work because I freaking love what I do. But you know what's so fun, Yanni, is when there's no pressure to make money, you make so
Yeah.
much more money. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like all for fun. And like people are like, Kim, you're so happy. Are you happy like this? Like, yeah, you'd be happy too if you had that wealth mindset. And wealth is a mindset, which is what I coach in the Zee Suite. So the reason I say franchising is I think the best way, it's how I did it. I'm totally biased. Franchising
Hmm.
has completely changed my life and the thousands of other people that I've helped become franchisees. But here's why. In the portfolio, right? Every wealthy person has a portfolio of investments, including Kim Daly. So what happens a lot of times, my real estate investors come to me and on paper, they are wealthy, right? Their net worth
Yeah.
is like 5 million, 10 million. I did a deal with a $25 million guy this year, but he had like freaking no cash. So
Mm.
that's why he came to me. So why? He's leveraged with the real estate, but those are long-term plays. Cash is what matters now. When I say I'm
Yeah.
financially free, it's because I stopped putting money into my self-employed pension plan, which made me feel rich on paper, but didn't give me any cash flow. And I started putting it into alternative investments, real estate syndication, self-storage, mobile home parks, crypto.
Hmm.
I invested in other franchise businesses. Why? Because through an investment, these people pay me monthly or quarterly dividends and I get
Hmm.
cash now. So
Yeah.
all of that cash coming in now means I don't have to work today if I don't want to. That's the true definition. But in my total portfolio, I have passive investments, which are usually the ones that make us net worth rich, but cash flow
Hmm.
poor. And I have two active businesses that are cash flow kings. So
Hmm.
that's franchising as a business. The business should be the core, the heart of your portfolio because it produces cash, but it also builds equity for the long term,
Hmm.
even in a franchise. That's equity that's yours to sell. So that's why. And then for the average person that doesn't have an MBA, doesn't have the risk tolerance to go be an entrepreneur, you bypass all of that in franchising. So it's just the limiting beliefs that people don't know about franchising, that people get stuck behind. Oh, people aren't really getting wealthy in a franchise. You don't understand how much wealth there is to be created in franchising. Like it's
Hmm.
crazy how much money is made in the franchise industry. So it's literally just a perspective shift through education.
Yeah. What's the saying? It's revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king.
I love that.
So
I've never
yeah,
heard that, but I love that. Wait, say it one more time.
it's revenue is vanity, profit
Okay.
is sanity, and cash is king. So I can't remember who
Yes.
said it, but I've
That's
heard it a
beautiful.
lot.
That's beautiful.
Um, I guess let's talk a little bit about the Daly Coach method, right? Is this is something that you've developed, and can you tell us a little bit about what makes your process unique compared to other franchise consultants that are out there?
Yeah, that's an awesome question because 23 years ago when I started, there was a handful of us, and today there's thousands of franchise consultants. So, first of all, let me just address that real quick and we'll talk about the daily plan. So, experience is the most important factor here because franchising as an industry, when you're trying to decide what's the best franchise, ultimately, what you're buying is a partnership. So
Hmm.
it's who, not what. You're going to find in working with me, I'm infinitely more interested in like your personality and the things that get you motivated because I'm matching you to who.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes to what, but who first. Because if the who, if the people, if you're not open to their coaching, you don't believe in them, it doesn't matter how in love you are with the workout or the smoothie or whatever it is, like you're not
Hmm.
going to be happy. Wealth, again, it's not just money, it's personal satisfaction, it's inner joy, it's a sense of calm, it's a sense of like, I love my life, it's passion. And that
Mm-hmm.
comes from when you're partnered with people who you're giving some 7% to that you actually like. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that part, right? So that's that. Now the daily plan is, so I was 8 years, Yoni, I was 8 years spinning around in the average pack of being a
Mm-hmm.
franchise consultant. And then in my ninth year, I made history. I was the first franchise consultant to ever build a 7-figure consultancy. Now, from my
Wow.
eighth to my ninth, yeah, from my eighth to my ninth year, here's what didn't change: the economy. It was 2010 to 2011. We were still in
Mm-hmm.
the gutter. Okay, my skill set did not change. My franchise business plan, like the way that I maneuver candidates through the process, did not change. Nothing external to Kim Daly changed, and yet everything changed. I grew my revenue by 350% in one 12-month period. So in the Zee Suite, I always start with my franchisees. I'm like, okay, if you could grow your revenue 350% in the next 12 months, would that make you happy? Oh yeah.
I would imagine everyone would say
I went
yes.
from 250 to $1,004.28. So what the heck did I do? So the daily plan, I didn't know the daily plan that first year. It was more an inspired idea. This is what I teach in my personal development coaching academy, but I'm not going to give it all to you right now. But what happened is I thought from an inspired idea. I took action from the inspired idea, but it wasn't until I created this 350% growth, $1 million business. And then, and that was without knowing the how. I did it
Mm-hmm.
all through, there's again, it's physics, but I did it all through my mind. Now, after I did it, I like gathered all the KPIs. I've tracked where every lead came from, who closed, and I started mining all of my data, which is what you buy
Mm-hmm.
when you buy a franchise. You get all this data from other
Yeah.
franchisees. So I reverse engineered the $1 million. So wait, I brought it, get it ready for it. I brought it down all the way to that daily goal. This is how I became the Daly Coach. So people think, oh, it's because your last name is Daly. Well, yes, but it's a nice little play on words there because it was the
Yeah.
consistent focus on what I had to execute on today. It was a presence in the moment, not a, oh my God, I'm so far behind. I wanted to build $1 million business and I'm only at 250. That's what we do when we're human.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on the lack and then we think we're going to go build abundance. Well, Einstein will tell you lack and abundance are on two different ends of a stick. You only build lack from lack and you only build abundance from abundance. So
Mm-hmm.
when I started to show up and play this little daily game, and I started to create momentum in the daily game, I started to feel really good about what I was doing. I started to learn some new skill. I started to gain that momentum and everything changed. And after that first year when I made 7 figures, I'll tell you this, I never ever went back to making less than $1 million. Why? Have you ever known somebody who went out and endeavored to lose like 50 or 100 pounds? They do all the work and then you bump into them 2 years later, no judgment, but they gained it all back?
Mm-hmm.
Why? This is physics. So you can effort and effort and effort, and you might be able to lose the 50 pounds. You might be able to build $1 million business by grinding it out, but you won't hold it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because money is energy and money only flows and stays where it's welcome in an energy of abundance. So if you are grinding, you're coming from lack. And so when you get there, you might get there through all the effort, but when you get there, you can't keep it. And the money is energy and it cannot stay.
Mm-hmm.
I became a $1 million consultant. And that's why the money always stayed. I was not grinding. I was not efforting. I promise you, I was having way more fun once I had this little daily plan that I could
Mm-hmm.
show up and work from. And it wasn't overwhelming. I wasn't out over my skis. And people would be like, you're so amazingly consistent, right? Because a lot of consultants, a lot of salespeople, they have a good month, you have a bad month. How do you do it? And I'd be like, because I'm consistent in what I can control every day. And when I'm
Yeah.
consistent, when I have control, guess what, Yoni? I don't have to control you, the buyer. That's what they're trying to do because they need you to buy a
Mm-hmm.
franchise so they can pay their mortgage. No offense, I want you to, but I don't need you to. That's not mine to
Yeah.
control. What's mine to control? How many yous I meet every day.
Right.
So it changed everything. It's a a few simple mindset shifts and an understanding of once I did it, how I started studying personal development, how the physics of it worked. And so that's my daily plan. And that's also a little bit about my mindset coaching academy that I can really help level up your mindset. So you're not asking for 10% growth. Give me a break. Go big here. I always say, this is not the time to think small. It's not the time to be conservative. If you try like, I don't want to be disappointed, you're going to be disappointed. This is the mindset coaching academy I have is going to revolutionize the entire franchise industry within 5 to 10 years. Once I get enough franchisees in, I got 43 today, baby, but I'm going to have 43,000 before long. And they're all going to start to resonate at a higher level and start thinking bigger and creating more. And all of their franchise brands are going to grow because people around them are going to be like, what is Kim Daly doing? I need to know that. Get in the Zee Suite. That's where I want that company to go.
Love that and love the energy. I know we're short on time, so I'm going to ask you one last question, and I want to leave some good taste for our listeners to want to come back, and of course reach out to you. So for those who want a quick start, right? What anyone who's listening, what are the first 2 to 3 steps that they should take today if they're interested in starting up or joining a franchise?
Okay. Go right to my website, thedalycoach.com. That's DALY. You don't have to do anything on your own. Come to me. My service is free. I am going to help you get clarity in your mind. That's heaven's first laws, order. Not around what you think you want to invest in, what you're trying to build in your life. I'm interested in the outcomes. That's what your ego get attached to, right? The business, we let that go. What matters is the time you spend, the person you get to become, the money you get to earn, right? That's what you want. You're not in it to run a franchise. You want money, you want time. So we're going to talk about the outcomes. And then with my 23 years of knowledge, relationship, and experience, I will create your model, match opportunity to you, and then coach you through that 1 to 2 month exploratory process. Again, never talking you into it, helping you, challenging you, but so that you can feel confident whether your answer is yes or no. So just do that.
We'll put your website
just come to me
in the description below. I guess that really sparked one really quick question that I wanted to ask, and I hope my employer doesn't listen. But to someone who's in a full-time W-2 job, is this something that they could do alongside their job to start off?
Yes, 100%. So not every franchise allows you to be what we call a semi-active investor, but I know the ones that do. And that would be where you keep your job, you hire that general manager who's doing the day-to-day work while you get to be the CEO managing the general manager and having the vision and the strategy and the cash flow that comes to you. So we would absolutely talk through the pros and cons of both. I'm not just going to be like, okay, that's what you want to do. Like, I'm going to, again, stretch you and teach you so that then you go, yes, Kim, based on that. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, then show me both models. But then sometimes people are like, no, there's no way my spouse is going to agree to me leaving my job. I have a great job. Why would I leave it unless I got kicked out? Perfect. Let's try to straddle both worlds until you can pink slip the job, because now you have enough cash flow and enough control over here to where you're like, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to untether myself. And I'm writing a book, Yoni, and it's called Unemployable and Financially Free. And that unemployable part, I want by choice. I want you to, that's when you're like, I know how to control my money. I know how to build and own this myself. I am totally unemployable because my freedom has no price. Offer me $1 million like salary. I don't even care because I can make that on my own. That's who I am. And that's what I want for every single investor I get to work with.
Love that. Thank you so much. For all of our real estate investors who are still at their W-2 job, you should be talking to Kim today. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for being here, Kim.
You ask great questions. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for listening to the Same Day Podcast. Tune in to a new show each week and be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.